Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about the announcement that Vanguard, Riot's proprietary anti-cheat software, is coming to League of Legends and the implications behind this, because I haven't seen a lot of conversation about it and I really wanted to spend some time to discuss it because I don't think this deployment is as cut and dried as some players may expect it to be. Now, in case you missed it, there was a fairly hefty portion of the season start video that Riot released where they talk about everything that they have planned for 2024, where they discuss the deployment of Vanguard in League of Legends. Now, for those of you who are unaware, Vanguard is Riot's proprietary anti-cheat software. They developed it as a part of their release of Valorant, as most of the hardcore tax shooter FPSs have very robust anti-cheat to stop people from, cheating in these very try-hardy type games. Vanguard was developed in-house, deployed as a part of that game, and they are now bringing it to League of Legends. Now, from Riot's perspective, this is a win for a variety of reasons. First, Vanguard was developed in-house. That means they're not paying anybody else for the deployment of software. They can just say, hey, we have Vanguard, it's lying around doing great work for Valorant, let's just go ahead and deploy it for League of Legends. The reason is because Riot's current anti-cheat is out of date by their own admission. Additionally, by their own admission, their anti-cheat was part of the reason for the data breach that they had back in 2023. As a result, they were sort of pressed to find a replacement, and Vanguard was a logical choice for a variety of reasons. That said, myself and some other League of Legends players are concerned about Vanguard for a variety of reasons, regardless of how well it works out for Riot, and today I wanted to talk about some of these reasons. First of all, Vanguard is a kernel-level application. For those of you who aren't super familiar with PC lingo, that means that the kernel is specifically what allows the operating system of your computer to talk to the physical components. So your OS is something like Windows or Mac OS, and the physical components like the fans, the motherboard, the processor, right, all of that stuff is what the kernel handles. It allows your OS to talk to the physical resources and get what it needs. For Vanguard to be installed at the kernel level, therefore, means it's extremely intrusive in terms of what it is allowed to access. It is going to boot as one of the first things that is booted on a PC that has it installed, and as a result of it being installed at the kernel level, Vanguard has access to basically your entire PC. There's actually a form of virus called a rootkit that does very similar things, and rootkits are some of the most insidious attacks that people can use because they are nigh impossible to detect, and again, they can basically have access to every single part of your PC, down to the physical components of it and everything else that you're doing on the PC as a whole. Now, Riot have professed to say that they're not interested in gathering any information on players besides what is crucial for the operation of League of Legends. But fundamentally, if Riot had a change of heart somewhere down the line and said, we are now going to start gathering your data using Vanguard, there would be no way for us to actively stop them if Vanguard is installed on the PC. An additional complication of Vanguard being installed at the kernel level, of course, is that it is one of the first things that boots automatically when your PC is powered on. Now, while you do have the option of turning off Vanguard once your PC is fully booted, the only way to switch it back on is to restart your PC. So in this hypothetical scenario, I boot my PC and Vanguard boots with it. I decide I'm not playing League of Legends that day, so I turn off Vanguard. Maybe an hour later, my buddy hits me up and says, hey, do you want to do some ranked duos and try to grind out that sweet LP? I say, sure, let me restart first. Because in order to play League of Legends in this new universe, I have to have Vanguard running. And in order to start Vanguard, I have to reboot my entire PC before I can actually play. Not a big deal, but certainly an issue. Another issue with Vanguard, of course, is that it is a hefty application. I did have it installed for a very small amount of time when I was trialing out Valorant. Didn't end up much liking the game, so I did uninstall at some point. But Vanguard was a huge drain on my PC's resources for it existing. Just booting my PC was significantly more of a hassle, and once I actually got a blue screen upon boot up, I decided, you know what, Vanguard, you're out. We're uninstalling Valorant, and we're uninstalling you specifically because I don't want you or need you. This is going to be a problem for players with less than stellar rigs. My PC could probably handle it nowadays with maybe the occasional issue, but there are some players playing on yesteryear's hardware that just can't have the option of running both Vanguard and League of Legends at the exact same time. Their PCs literally can't handle it, and as a result, there are going to be some players that are just straight up not allowed to play League of Legends anymore until they upgrade their rig. Speaking of upgrades, Vanguard tracks your PC hardware components. This is a necessary part of the anti-cheat software. However, it does mean that if you decide to upgrade your PC, swap out for a new graphics card or update the processor or anything else, it can mean that Vanguard can flag your PC as having a hardware change, which may cause issues for you in ranked. Now, this is unlikely to be a problem. I believe most of the time it only has an issue unless you swap out like 70% of your hardware or something like that, which most people are not going to do. At that point, it's more cost efficient to just buy a new PC. But it is theoretically something to consider for people who are trying to, let's say, for example, upgrade their PC so they can play League of Legends. And while this isn't necessarily a concern, I feel like Vanguard is overreacting. It really does feel like Riot are calling in the National Guard for not even for something big, right? Like a convenience store got robbed, and they're calling in the tanks and artillery and heavy ordnance to deal with this. For me, Vanguard is one of those extremely sweaty anti-cheat applications that you need for extremely sweaty games like Valorant or Counter-Strike, right? In those sort of circumstances, it makes a lot of sense. League of Legends, meanwhile, I just don't feel like there are that many people try-harding to that level. I myself have not seen very many scripters at all in my entire 12-year tenure with League of Legends. I really haven't. I could probably count the number of scripters who at least I knew were scripting on one hand. This isn't to say that they don't exist, of course, but it does mean that they're few and far between, and so far, Riot's own anti-cheat software was working totally fine. Now, to their credit, Riot did say that if you don't have anti-cheat at the kernel level, then essentially you're always in an arms race with scripters. They will find a way to get around your anti-cheat. You have to patch your anti-cheat to patch out that vulnerability. The scripters go back at it to find another vulnerability, etc., etc. You're never done, versus a kernel level application, which basically you can't script around. The only thing you could do is swap out hardware, right? Which again, as mentioned, isn't really feasible for many players. This then means that it makes a lot of sense from Riot's perspective to deploy, and again, because they own it, but to me, it feels overbearing. League of Legends hasn't felt like that kind of extremely sweaty tryhard game where people are going to be scripting and are going to be trying to find ways around the anti-cheat. It really kind of felt like the anti-cheat we had was perfectly fine for the game that we were playing, and deploying Vanguard is just a bit of an overreaction in all honesty. Now, is it likely to be reverted, though? Probably not. Again, Riot own Vanguard. This is the extremely cost-efficient solution from their perspective, and as mentioned before, this means that scripting basically can't happen as long as Vanguard is deployed. However, I urge Riot to consider exploring alternatives. I don't feel like League of Legends needs such an invasive anti-cheat. I don't feel like Vanguard is conducive to what they're trying to accomplish with League of Legends protection, and in general, I think it's the players that are going to suffer more through Vanguard than they're going to benefit from it, because even though Vanguard does have some fun things that Riot can do, like hardware banning players, or if they detect scripts to immediately cancel a game and refund all players LP, it just doesn't feel like what we're gaining is enough for what we're losing. But you guys let me know what you think of this down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you think Vanguard coming to League is a great thing, or if, like me, you're a little bit more leery of the application. Let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like, and if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.